Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Fireside Chat at the Zero Conference in Vienna. And I have a very interesting subject and person to share some experiences with you. So may I introduce Daria Odovicic. I hope I pronounce it well.
Okay.
Can you introduce yourself?
Sure, of course. Thank you, Rob. It is a pleasure to be here in Vienna at Zero Conference once again. My name is Daria, and I lead the work for Perkins School for the Blind on inclusive education and early intervention across the region of Europe and Eurasia. Perkins is a global organization dedicated to improving quality and accessibility of education for children with disabilities worldwide. Although it was founded as a school for the blind 200 years ago, it evolved into the international system strengthening organization. And nowadays we partner with governments, NGOs, community-based organizations in order to build sustainable capacity. So not just to deliver services, because if we strengthen the system, then the change remains long after the service is delivered or project is made. But what I would like to say is that when we do our work, we start from the very, very simple principle. We strongly believe that every child can learn. And it can learn anywhere. So that's where we go. We go where the children are. So we go into the under-resourced settings, into the rural settings, crisis settings, but also to very well-equipped urban schools who do not have capacity to provide adequate education or even the will to provide that. So that's where we step in. We try to change the mindset and we try to build capacity so that they're able to provide education in the way that the child can take it in so it can learn. And to my work always centered around the idea, not what we have been told, that child fails the system. I strongly do not believe that. I think systems fail children and we start from there.
Wow, that's really great and great to hear. And well, we have some kind of crisis, of course, in Ukraine, and there are a lot of children involved, and you developed something, and we want to talk about that one. And can you tell me that, well, what did you think when this crisis in Ukraine started? What were you doing? How did you react, and how did that lead to a new approach, what you built in Poland?
Yeah, so of course, definitely as many others, we wanted to do something. And when we were thinking with our competences, we thought of early intervention would be the best choice because delayed services or disrupted services in that early age can have really lifelong consequences. So we knew we would like to do something in that area. And also, when we knew that, we know that high-quality early intervention services present significant challenge in humanitarian context because of professional shortage, disrupted infrastructure, cultural language barriers, and of course, psychological toll the war takes on families and on service providers. So then we looked at the crisis in Ukraine in two ways. We saw families with the young children with disabilities crossing the border, in our case Poland, because that's where we had our project, but to any other place. And the services were gone, and the whole network, support network that we as humans have and families have was disappeared. And then on the other hand, we had thousands of professionals from Ukraine who were also displaced and yet did not have a job because of again, language and culture barrier, or skills were not needed at job market, or a certificate, you name the reason. So there's thousands of them that did not have a job. So we thought, how can we maybe find a solution within that community? And that's where we started thinking from there on.
Right, that's really creative, I think. But how do you think this approach is innovative compared to other approaches and early intervention responses?
Yeah.
Could you tell something about that?
Sure. So what we created was not a traditional early intervention project or services. We called what we can say crisis response early intervention workforce model. That's how we can put it.
Catch you one.
Yeah, because what we did, we trained Ukrainian professionals. We trained them in FGRBI, so that's family guided routine-based intervention. That is actual early intervention approach that we chose because of it is robust evidence-based, that it works, and it's very adaptable to unstable living conditions. So we trained them in that approach. We trained them in caregivers coaching strategies because that is the method how you deliver that approach. We trained them in trauma-informed practices, and they had real-time supervision and reflective practice. So what they became after that, they became family consultants, and they started to go to families and give support to families, Ukrainian families, their children 0 to 7. So that way we created skills, jobs, the skills that would be needed at a job market, jobs for a while, and provided services at the same time. And that was very important because we provided continuity of the services. So, and also we know, and I quote this from research, that high quality intervention is critical for promoting developmental resilience in children affected by crisis and displacement. So that was our idea about that.
All right, great. So you empower the local community,
Yes.
even if it is displaced.
Yes.
That's great. And but it's a great idea. But how do you know that works and that it's effective?
Of course, but also what it is compared to others, it is innovative because it's not only the method, it is the structure. Because in many humanitarian response, you have services that are imported and temporary. And we try to build the opposite because we build local capacity and we brought in that way because local capacity inside that displacement community, it brought in the sustainability in that and also real time. So family consultants were coached as professionals. At the same time, they provided coaching. And this allowed immediate response without lowering quality. But also, as you said, how do we know that it worked?
Yeah.
It worked because we embedded measurement into the projects from the beginning. So that is called fidelity. Fidelity of implementation is actually how do we know accurately and consistently that a program or practice is implementing according to its original design. What it means in simple words, it means do we do what we say that we will do, and did we do it in the way that we intended it to do? So why is it that important? Because if we want positive outcomes to be measured, if we measure, for example, child progress in this case, we have to know that it's not a random variance that it happened. We have to know that it happened because of how our model was created and delivered. So it evaluates effectiveness of our model. And what we measured is adherence to the FGRBA model, competence in coaching delivery, and parent engagement levels. And all of that is significantly increased. And when we also found a positive correlation between provider fidelity and caregiver engagement. What does it mean? It means that parents were engaged. And if we have engaged parents, then the child development, it is a strong predictor that child will develop more and steadily. So that's what I wanted to say.
Wow, and you use the quality and the power and the capacity of the community, of the parents, and you as an organization. How did you manage to organize this? What is necessary to be able to organize this all?
Yeah, so that was in unit like 3 pillars. So first one is you have to have local partners. So we had partners in Poland, our host country. We have a Ukrainian network to ensure legitimacy and access, of course. And you have to have funding. Our project was funded by UBS Optimus Foundation. And it needs to be a bit flexible and adaptable to respond quickly in these situations. And third, you have to have supervision infrastructure, so it has to be ongoing and reflective. What I did not say is, of course, in that model from the beginning, we had trauma integration because families and professionals were affected by war. And so we provided trauma education and reflective supervision to the professionals. So at the same time, they can process their own experiences and while supporting others to go through their experiences. And what happened because of that is trust. Because our model, and any early intervention approach should be done at home. But especially with this one, it should be done in home settings. And when we are talking about displaced families, home settings can be really a lot of things, and they're not so eager to let you in. I mean, they need to trust you. So with this peer-to-peer kind of model, we built trust instantly because there was no language and culture barrier, and they also went through the same experience. So both of them were affected by the same experience. Right. So trust was there, and therefore we didn't lose time here as well.
All right. So that's really interesting. You use trust, the power of the community, the train-the-trainer program. You have to respond quickly. That are, well, every crisis is unique.
Yeah.
But these elements, I think, you can expand it or translate it to other situations or crises. Do you want to do that?
Sure, of course, yeah. That would be great because we think this model has elements that could be applicable in other situations, no matter what caused them, in other crisis response. Because what usually happens in the crisis response when we do that, we tend to create dependency on the solution that we offer. But in our model, we tried really to avoid that, and instead of creating dependency, we build resilience because it goes within the community. Yeah. So, and it is scalable, but the scaling has to be intentional and it has to be responsible because it's not just replication, it requires partnership and infrastructure.
Yeah, I understand.
Yeah.
So you have a model, it's working in Poland now, with Ukraine, in the Ukraine crisis. You want to scale up. And, well, this conference is about crisis response. It's about scalability. It's about effectiveness. What are you looking for at ZeroCon?
Well, of course, we're looking for strategic collaboration, for philanthropic partners, for organizations ready to replicate this model. Because children with disabilities cannot wait, especially in those situations, and especially young children.
So can you repeat that again? Because you are looking for partners, and what kind of partners?
Strategic collaboration.
Yeah.
So someone who would enable us to do so, who would be able also to, who is ready to explore the possibilities of scaling it up with us.
All right. So here's a model that is proven to be effective. It's good. We are at ZeroCon, so meet her if you can. Yeah. And well, maybe you can work together to collaborate, and that will be great, I think. Yeah. That's a part of the purpose of this ZeroCon. So thank you for sharing your experiences and your model. And maybe there is a last word you can ask the audience or tell or share with us.
I'll just share the last few thoughts because what we learned from this project, we learned a lot of things, and it was a very emotional project, I must say, and we'll continue to do so. But what we learned is that inclusive crisis response is possible, and even in the most difficult moments. We also learned that we can build resilience within the community. And the last one, I think we should all bear in mind, whatever crisis is, the dignity and development should not be an optional thing. It just need to be there. So dignity and development should always be counted in anything that we do as a crisis response.
So double difficult problem, and you solve this, you work on it, it's great. And I think this deserves an applause for Daria
Thank you.
And Perkins.
Thank you. Thank you, Rob.
Thank you for listening and looking.